Dia de los Muertos is the new hip.
We need a holiday. What are we going to call it? The latter Day of the Dead?
I'm big into genealogy, and I can testify personally, you can absolutely connect with your ancestors beyond the veil. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Only us in modern day Western culture that have lost this. We're the weird ones. We're the strange people who don't have a day of remembrance, a day of dead celebration. So, the Day of the Dead is in all these ancient cultures. And actually, it's in Christianity too.
How much less would we fear death if we knew that our children were going to come and bounce around with our bodies on their heads? Like, we're going to be no FOMO.
It's like, look, Mexicans, I love your Day of the Dead stuff. That's great. But the skulls thing, I don't know what.
Oh, that's the coolest part, bro.
I know.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Ward Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis, and I'm joined in the studio today live by Jonah Barnes, comedic editor at large. That was a really good intro, my man. And today we've got an important topic. It's germane to the holiday season. We're talking none other than the Day of the Dead and our need as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to have our very own Day of the Dead. We think it is germane, necessary, and actually uplifting when understood within the context of the unique doctrine of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to indeed celebrate the Day of the Dead and actually have our own cool, sick, upgraded version that takes the gospel of Jesus Christ into consideration. Now, do we want this just so we can have those cool blow-up dolls in our front yards? Do we want it so we can walk around like 007? In what was that movie where he was in the Day of the Dead again? Spectre? No, Spectre's the bad guys.
Skyfall?
Could have been. I don't remember.
Cool scene though.
I just know he had a really cool suit on that had the skull and the skeleton on it, and it was just a pretty awesome scene. So anyway, do we want it just so we can walk around like Daniel Craig in 007, El Dia de los Muertos? Or do we want it for deeper reasons? What do you say, Jonah Barnes?
Dude, good intro. You're spot on. We absolutely need it. In the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, this is unique to us. We should embrace this. Our Latin members of the church would love it. They're already doing it. Half the church is already doing this. So if you're in North America and you're, Anglo-Saxon descent and you're not celebrating the Day of the Dead, you're behind the ball on this. So we're going to help you catch up. We're going to help you catch up today.
Yeah. So what? Just tell me, I guess, what are your top 3 reasons? Like, what is the reason we should celebrate the Day of the Dead?
Well, so first of all, the origin of the Day of the Dead is totally legit. So the Day of the Dead, all ancient cultures celebrated the Day of the Dead. Your ancestors celebrated it. You think they didn't? They totally did. If you think, oh, I'm not Mexican. No, Day of the Dead has been celebrated everywhere, all over the world. And it all has basis in the cosmos. Okay, so you look up in the night sky, and our ancestors were always looking up in the night sky, and you would notice that the year is divided into 2 halves: the light half and the dark half. The everything is alive and growing and beautiful and bright, and everything is dark and dead. And so the land of light and the land of the dead were divided. And the portion of the year, the day of the year that these 2 worlds were colliding was right at the beginning of February. It was exactly halfway between the autumnal and the winter equinox, solstice. And right at that line is where the veil between the land of the living and the land of the dead, the light and the dark, the veil was thin. And our ancestors, all of your ancestors, knew this. They knew that the veil was thinnest at this time of year. And so during that time of year, they'd light candles and they'd remember their ancestors who were closer that time of year and welcome them back. The English have this going way back, the Celts and the Scots, the Slavs, everybody has a Day of the Dead.
Well, and it's one of the things that I love about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and our unique doctrine. I mean, we have, for all intents and purposes, what is ancestor worship. I mean, with what we do with all of our genealogy, if we were anthropologists just studying us from space 200 years from now, they would just, scoffingly call it ancestor worship. But really, like, Western society has been stripped of its connection But most people can't name their great grandpa.
Yes.
They don't know life existed past even Ellis Island if they do. And when people know their origin stories and these deep and profound plains that their pioneer ancestors crossed, that their World War I soldier great-great-grandparents endured, that their, my grandpa fought alongside, Charlemagne or against the Roman Empire, or whatever. Like whenever they learn those stories, like, first off, who needs Hollywood and consumerism when you're learning the stories of your own ancestors?
Yeah, they're way better. They're way better.
You know what I'm saying? They're way better. And second off, you realize, man, if my ancestors did this, I'm carrying that same DNA. I'm carrying that same spirit.
Yes.
I am I can overcome it. It's so empowering knowing who our ancestors are, and it's so beautiful and rich and deep, and everything that is good, lovely, of good report and praiseworthy, as the Apostle Paul says. We need to codify and solidify that connection, and what better way to do it than through traditional celebration, which we really don't have in the West. I go to my donut shop. It's owned by some not Vietnamese people. Come on, what's the other Southeastern Thailand? They're Thai, and I can't remember the name of the specific religion, but they have the cool little altar there where they give the little offerings to their ancestors.
Well, it's big in Asia. Asian cultures are big on this.
They got the donuts right there with the candles.
When my wife and I lived in the Republic of Kyrgyzstan, the dude, one of our good friends there, he could recite his forefathers 7 generations just from memory. Pop, 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 pop. He just pop them off. He knew them all.
Dude, that's awesome.
So when you say like most people don't know this, most people in North America don't know this, but most people in like God's family all know this. Your ancestors honored their ancestors, and everyone else in the world does this and knows this and honors our ancestors. It's only us in modern day Western culture that have lost this. We're the weird ones. We're the strange people who don't have a day of remembrance, a day of dead celebration. So now that's all going to end here tonight, people, because now you're going to celebrate it all the time.
Well, because and this is so consistent with also what the brethren had said in modern days. I'm trying to look up this quote right now because I just remembered it. This wasn't part of, unfortunately, our pre-production, but here we are going off script, which is what we do so well on this show, right? I can't remember the talk. It might be The Culture of Christ from October 2nd, 2020. I don't know. This seems a little bit more recent. Maybe you can help me out. Who was the apostle that gave the beautiful talk on the importance of culture that elevates us toward Christ? And he said sometimes that, sometimes the culture of the church has more elevating practices. And so usually as a church, when we go into new cultures, we don't try and mess with, traditions and customs and things like that, aren't flight critical, shall we say, right? But they said when meandering through what culture we adopt and what we don't, whether we adopt the culture of the church, which may be new, or we adopt the culture of our traditional culture, which we've had for a long time, we should adopt that one, that which is better, that which is more elevating, right? And I have to tell you, oftentimes I think, as a missionary, I would enter a new culture and I would think, okay, cool. We struggled really badly with alcoholism in rural areas of Buenos Aires, like self-destructive, bad alcoholism, right?
Yeah.
And the generally is kind of more puritanical American culture, and then also the generally much more dry Mormon culture, I think, was an improvement in a lot of these people's lives, right? However, I don't want to rush to turn them into Americans or rush to turn them into just, another set of white suburban Christian Americans, as though that's some great improvement if they're celebrating the Day of the Dead and I can't name my great grandpa.
Yeah. There's something to learn there, right?
In that case, now I actually have something as a missionary to learn from them. Now, unfortunately, in Argentina, the Day of the Dead is not a big thing. Amongst the South American cultures that are more familiar with, especially Southern California, Mexico is the predominant. Okay. And Mexicans have a very robust celebration of the dead. It's basically the basis and the premise of the movie Coco, which is one of the most phenomenal.
Awesome.
Was that Pixar or was that Disney? Disney bought Pixar though, right? So it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
I can't remember. They're all for sale now, But anyway, we have so much to learn from these cultures that just venerate and respect our dead. And we do too, but we relegate it to those old people in retirement. Like genealogy is what you do at the end of your day.
Oh, that's such an awful mistake that we make to leave it off. I mean, what a help to young people and to parents. They're the people who need
youth need to know it more than anything.
Yeah, the people who need it the most care the least.
Yeah. So
anyways,
we need a holiday. What are we going to call it? The Latter Day of the Dead?
Latter Day of the Dead. Well, actually, just to your point, you were saying Brigham Young, who's awesome. Brigham Young said that basically what you're alluding to. He said, quote, "It is our duty and calling as ministers of the same salvation and gospel to gather every item of truth and reject every error, whether a truth be found with professed infidels, Universalists, Church of Rome, Methodists, Church of England, Presbyterian, Baptists, Quakers, Mexicans, Argentinians, wherever they're from, or any other various numerous sects and parties, all of whom have more or less truth. It is the business of the elders of the church to gather up all the truths in the world pertaining to life and salvation, and bring it to Zion." So what he's saying is, if the Day of the Dead is super awesome, then let's go get it. Let's go get it. Let's do it. Right? And
so are we going to start, dude, is it going to be Latter Day of the Dead, and will it coincide with the Mexican Day of the Dead?
Latter Day of the Dead?
Just to kind of dovetail into the existing system, or should we maybe make our own day?
Well, just so everybody here understands, like, look, Mexicans, I love your Day of the Dead stuff. That's great. But the skulls thing, I don't know what.
Oh, that's the coolest part, bro.
I know, man. It just kind of I've never been like into the, I don't know.
Oh, dude, I would have a skeleton in my room right now. like right now. If there was a human skeleton for sale somewhere.
Another one?
And I didn't consider it disrespectful of the dead. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, jeez.
I would literally just have one of those hanging. Like, dude, you know that one cathedral in France where like the furniture is made out of the human bones?
Oh,
I would buy one of those chairs and sit on it. I'm not a macabre person, but like the human skull is so cool and just so profound. And so just there's something about it that would be my icon. Like if I were in Top Gun 3, you know what I'm saying? And I had to choose my, am I going to be Maverick?
Am I going to be Iceman? What's a call sign? Yeah.
My call sign, there would be something have to do with death and a skull in there. I might literally just call myself Death. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So this is going to be an easy transition for you.
Not even death from above, not like, the Polish death, or like, not like the plague, the hangman, the grim reaper, nothing. I would just be like monosyllabic death.
Wow.
So yeah, that's pretty hardcore. That was a lot.
The skulls always, I
think my neighbors just called up the sheriff to try and get a restraining order. I think I just got flagged on 7 FBI watch lists.
Well, you're already on them all anyways, we know.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but anyway, so the skull thing, I don't know. But the idea that the veil is thinner during that time of year, and that you can kind of commune or connect with your ancestors. I'm big into genealogy, and I can testify personally, you can absolutely connect with your ancestors beyond the veil. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. You can do it. So the Day of the Dead is in all these ancient cultures, and actually it's in Christianity too. The Catholics had, shortly after the martyrs were killed, the early Christians were killed, they would celebrate All Saints' Day, which now is all weird. But originally it was the dead Christians who had been sacrificed to lions and all those things. Let's reconnect with them beyond the veil. And they would celebrate it that first week in November. So Christianity had it too. Now All Saints' Day is
that why Dia de los Muertos is in the first week of... Okay.
Well, but the Aztecs had it too. Before Columbus came over, they had their own day that did celebration. Everybody celebrates this, guys. If you don't celebrate this, then you're like super weird. Like everybody celebrates this. Like what's wrong with you?
Yeah, well, dude, I'm going to get down with the Day of the Dead this year.
Dude, let's get down with the Day of the Dead.
I've never really done it. I've done some cool Cinco de Mayo things.
Yeah.
I've done some pretty cool Mexican Christmas things, but I've never done a solid, awesome, deep dive with my Mexican bros into the Dia de los Muertos. We're gonna do it this year,
dude. Dia de los Muertos is the new hip. It's the new hip.
Okay, so what would? Oh, sorry. Keep going.
So I was just gonna say, Famidahana is the Malagasy, Zhongguang is the Chinese, Obon is the Japanese version. Everybody has their version of the Day of Remembrance. The Slavs have Diadi, which is really cool because it's just remembering your forefathers. The Mexican Day of the Dead is cool. My only problem with it is don't lose the ancestors in the like party and neon lights thingy. Like, remember, it's supposed to be remembering your ancestors. Like, that's kind of the point of it, is that there really are people on the other side of that veil, and you're going to be there someday too, so make friends now, right?
Do you think they kind of dress like this? I think they do.
Oh, true.
You know, by the way,
I can see you and Brittany wearing this the next.
That is just cool, man. That's like Tim Burton meets like Gothic architecture meets like the artist that drew those cool Latino t-shirts in the 90s of the Aztec warrior holding the fallen princess, you know, like that's just all things cool of Dia de los Muertos just mixed into one there.
I played too much Doom as a kid. That's only, I don't know, the skull thing doesn't rub me the right way.
Okay,
but whatever.
so it's really common. I was reading some really interesting practices of different towns and peoples and groups throughout Mexico to celebrate the Day of the Dead. And apparently they give each other little gifts, like death bread, I guess would be the translation.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's a type of bread they give each other with little inscriptions on it that are kind of mocking what sometimes people say on graves about like, here lies so and so. Like, you know, just like sometimes you see on funny gravestones that are fake gravestones that people make as gags for Halloween.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, here lies Seymour Butts. May he rest face down or something.
Yeah, right. Rest in pieces. Yeah.
Rest in pieces. Yeah, sure, exactly. So that, and they give each other little skull candy gifts and little cases that hold money coins made of skulls and so on and so forth. So what would the latter Dia de los Muertos, what would the latter Day of the Dead, what could be some of our cool little traditions that we usher in?
Well, I think we start with the Malagasy tradition.
Yeah.
My favorite is Famidahana. The Malagasis go out and they exhume the corpses of their ancestors and wash all the bones in wine.
What?
That's gotta be what we do here in the latter.
Holy smoke, this is real.
This is totally real.
What, I'm looking this up. There's a YouTube video of this. What are the keywords that I search right now? Famidahana. Okay, youtube.com. I'm going to youtube.com right now. And then how do you spell this again?
This is off the top of my head. Famidahana. Bone washing.
Okay, Fomba Malagasy.
Famidahana Malagasy, yeah.
Okay, and then bone washing.
Got to turn off safe search here.
Yeah, I was gonna say okay. Oh, this is in Madagascar.
It's a Malagasy, yeah. It's
the celebration of the deceased. Look at this. This is amazing, bro.
Yeah. And they exhume the bodies and wash them with wine, guys.
Look, and this is not some small tribe out in the middle of nowhere of two people. Look, there's hundreds of folks here.
Dude, and actually what's funny is it's spreading. It's spreading all across Madagascar. Now it's spreading to Mexico. There's some villages in Mexico that are starting to do this. It's spreading. So hey, get ahead.
Hey, it's a happy celebration. Look.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Those are corpses. They take them out, they dance and they sing with them. They'll take the bones and they'll wash them in wine and then rebury them.
Really? Holy smoke.
Yeah, dude.
That is just dang cool, man.
Commitment right there.
Well, no, but awesome. What a great way. I got to tell you, my mom just died. My mom just died. And, you know, some times ago, and I passed by her grave and I would say we talk, you know, and I get to see her and there's that spot, right? But it's not a celebration like this.
Yeah.
Like, how much less would we fear death if we knew that our children were going to come and bounce around with our bodies on their heads? Like, we're going to be, no FOMO. You're not going to have FOMO if that's you up there. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't going to be missing out.
But you're right about that. It would make you, because look, we're all going to be on the other side of that veil someday,
and
guys.
Look, it's got their pass away date on there, 2019. So wow, look at that. Right
crazy,
there.
Man.
I haven't seen any of the bone washing, but look at them, dude. They're just like literally partying hard.
That would change your perspective on death. That would really affect you. My favorite is a Swedish church My ancestors are Swedish.
Yeah.
And there's a big church, and above the church is this, they carved something. And then it's like engraved in stone. It says, Tank på döden, which means think about death. It's just think about death. Like nothing. They're not clever with their phrase. It's just like, hey, all you people out there who aren't repenting, think about death for a minute. It'll
dude, this one's kind of crazy. Check this one out.
Careful. Can you play this?
I mean, just some viewer discretion here. They're going to be showing some legit remains of just some people, but look at this. These guys, literally, they're the Torajans. I don't know how to spell it, but look, they take out their remains of these people, and they just walk them around and have celebrations of them. Like, look at that. Wow. There's a dude right there.
Jeez. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is nuts. This is like cool nuts though,
In Russia, where I served my mission, they have, they'll have a grave, and they'll build like a little fence around it, and they'll put a table and chairs so that you can go visit them and sit and drink some tea and talk to their grave and just like hang out with your deceased ancestors.
Wow. I got to tell you, that's something we're not doing as well as other cultures in the West.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like we're not doing that as well as other cultures in the West. And yeah, look, they washed this person off. Like, that's kind of cool. And look, Grandma, here's a cup of water for you. And they give Grandma a cup of water. You know what? That's a beautiful thing.
It is beautiful. It is.
That's a freaking beautiful thing right there.
It is a beautiful thing. We're all going to be there someday. We're all going to have to get to know these people, or we're going to be super embarrassed in spirit paradise when we don't speak any of these languages or recognize any of these people. They're going to be like, Carden! And you're going to be like, I don't know who you are. And like, I'm your great-great-grandfather. You got to learn who they are. It's going to be super awkward at the party. You've been to those parties. Guys, that's what death is going to be like. It's going to be a super awkward party if you don't do your family history.
So the last minute we got here, we basically started Moroni Day on this channel.
We did.
We basically started Moroni Day. And
so... the last little piece of this. When did Joseph F. Smith receive Section 138 about the land of the dead? October 31st, it was canonized. Isn't that funny? And then Family Search, owned by the church, is now promoting Day of the Dead celebrations. They started just a few years ago now. So if you look on Family Search, they'll give you a list of activities you can do to celebrate the Day of the Dead remembrance. So the church is on to this now. And if you don't believe that the veil is thinner, because I had some skepticism about this, remember that the opposite of the Day of the Dead, if you go straight across to where the land of dark and death passes to the land of light and life, what do you get if you go straight across the year? Easter. Christ rose. He went from the land of the dead to the land of life in early April, which was the complete opposite of the Day of the Dead celebration in the other part of the year. So they were on to something. The veil's thinner, guys.
Dude, people that think the ancients were dummies.
They were not dummies, man.
They were not dummies.
They outdid us in every which way, without their phones, without Google, without the jugal.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. If you're listening to us on the radio, you can always comment on this video on our website. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can just comment below. Just either way, just let us know. What do you guys think about all this? Because I got to tell you, I'm a fan. I think we need a latter Day of the Dead, and we should just call it the latter Day of the Dead.
Latter Day of the Dead.
Give everybody free genealogy tours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
Exactly. I think
dress up in skull and that suit from James Bond, and go to the temple dressed like that.
Oh, dude, I love this. This is too awesome. You know what? This is great. Unfortunately, got to go. Everybody make sure you check us out for more at wardradio.com.
Right now, tell me who you are. Get in the car. Right now, reach for the stars. I want it all. Right now.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. If you haven't had a chance yet, please like this video and consider sharing with your friends or subscribing. Also, there should be a video coming up right about here or here where you can continue watching. If you want to visit us on Twitter, we're at Ward Radio Show. If you want to check us out online, we're at wardradio.com. And if you'd like to consider contributing to the program, please check us out at Midnight Mormons or at Ward Radio Show on Venmo. That's one of the best ways you can contribute to the program. Either way, we're glad to have you here. Thanks for hanging out with us, and always check out more on wardradio.com.